Ever wondered how to navigate the intricate web of compliance processes while maintaining top-tier security for your notarial records? The solution is closer than you think. Introducing Comply Chain Guard, or CGG, a platform designed specifically for civil law notaries. CCG merges the complex chain of compliance processes with unrivaled protective measures. It enables you to stride confidently through the multifaceted terrain of regulations while ensuring paramount security for your records, deeds, and transactions. CCG boasts a regulatory compliance engine that keeps you updated with real-time insights tailored to civil law regulations. It effortlessly integrates with legal databases and ensures automated compliance checks for all notarial deeds and transactions. But that's not all. CCG also features advanced encryption to safeguard your notarial records. You'll benefit from multi-factor authentication and periodic security assessments, upholding the sanctity of every notarial act. Plus, with continuous transaction monitoring, you'll receive alerts for any discrepancies and comprehensive logs for traceability. And when it comes to reporting and analytics, CCG generates automated compliance reports specific to notarial acts. Dive into our analytics dashboard for transaction patterns and predictive insights. Why choose CCG? It brings efficiency, security, and compliance to your fingertips, allowing you to operate with unmatched confidence and credibility. CCG integrates effortlessly with your notarial record-keeping systems. Our API facilitates bespoke integrations, ensuring compatibility with major legal platforms and databases. And remember, our dedicated support is here to assist you every step of the way. CGG is the future of notarial practices. It redefines your work, ensuring accuracy, credibility, and peace of mind. It's a transformative experience tailored for civil law notaries. Don't wait. Contact Comply Chain Guard for a demo or more information. Step into the future of notarial practices. Your journey to seamless compliance and robust security starts with CCG.
Have you ever pondered the integral role of truth and transparency in legal transactions? Indeed, these principles form the very bedrock of justice and fairness. In the realm of affidavits, truth and transparency are paramount. They are the compass guiding the navigation of complex legal waters. But how can we ensure these principles are upheld consistently and efficiently? Enter Affinet, the affidavit network. Affinet is a groundbreaking platform designed with sovereigns, legal professionals, and businesses in mind. It is a one-stop solution for creating, verifying, and recording truth affidavits. This ensures a seamless and trustworthy experience for all parties involved. Why choose Affinet? Integrity, efficiency, security, and expertise. Our platform is built on the principle of truth, fostering transparency in each transaction. Record your affidavits with ease and access them anytime, anywhere. With state-of-the-art encryption, your documents remain confidential and secure. Plus, our team of legal professionals is always on hand to assist and guide you. Let's delve deeper into the features of Affinet. Draft your affidavits online using our user-friendly interface. Ensure the authenticity of your documents with our robust verification system. Record your affidavits in county records or publish them as required, thanks to our seamless integration with the public record. Track the status of your affidavits and receive notifications on any challenges or updates with our case management feature. Affinet is also compliant with RSIA, the Arbitration Registry Investment System Artificial Intelligence. This ensures we uphold the highest standards in the creation and verification of truth affidavits. What exactly is a truth affidavit? It's a formal written statement made under oath, asserting the veracity of specific facts. All affidavits are inherently considered to be truth affidavits, as they are the primary means for a sovereign to communicate with another sovereign or government entity. Affidavits play a crucial role in common law. They present only facts that the author can prove and are primarily used in commercial transactions and disputes. When recorded in county records, they become part of public policy and establish the facts of a case. If unchallenged for 30 days post-recording, they become the law of the case. It's essential to remember that public policy is established for public officials, not sovereigns. Sovereigns operate in the private domain, while the government operates publicly. Affinet simplifies the process of using affidavits in corporate courts. Record the affidavit in the county record, obtain 3 certified copies from the county clerk, and submit 1 copy to the court records. Present 1 copy to the plaintiff and another to the judge during court proceedings. As the author of the affidavit, you become the creditor or secured party in the case, and the case cannot proceed until your affidavit is challenged. A truth affidavit must be truthful and complete. It should clearly identify the author as a sovereign private person, living sole, creditor, claimant, and secured party. The affidavit should only state facts that are irrefutable. In conclusion, Affinet is your trusted partner in truthful transactions. For your next affidavit, give Affinet a try. Experience the difference of a platform built on the principles of truth and transparency. Affinet, your partner in integrity.
I am here personally right now to introduce my next guest speaker. I wanted to do that myself for Mr. Jordan Maxwell. I've known of Jordan's work for at least 5 years, and I have had the pleasure of getting to know him personally for about 2 years, off and on now. And he has become a personal hero of mine. Before that, it was, well, Batman. But you know the Hollywood movie. The valiant youth who learns of his destiny at an early age and goes out and battles the forces of evil. Jordan is that hero in the flesh, at least to me he is. And to you, once you get to know him and his work of over 40 years, both academically and experientially. He is going to lay out the groundwork today of our history, our hidden history, a lesson that we all need to know about, of things that we aren't taught, things that are here going on right in front of our eyes, which is the best place to hide things. And we have an exclusive tomorrow. Jordan will lay out the groundwork today, and he will bring a guest with him tomorrow. And they will bring us up to date. And he has some very interesting, profound information for this contemporary audience. So for now, he will lay the groundwork, give you a history lesson that you are going to want to hear. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the work and the experience of a man that I would like to call my hero and friend, Mr. Jordan Maxwell.
Good, it works. I want to thank all of you for being here with me. Is this going to give me problems because I'm... Okay. Oh, yeah, maybe we can turn it down in the back. We're going to have to turn it down in the back a little bit. Okay. I was going to do slides and talk a little bit about religion, and then talk a little bit about government, and but I decided that if I were to bring slides, it's going to take me all night, because there's just so much I want to say about the system we live under. It is the most incredible array of treason, lies, crimes against the state. It's just an incredible story of how this country operates, who owns it, and consequently, as I said, if I brought slides, I wouldn't get through tonight. So I'm just going to kind of meander over some of the points I want to make. And it may not follow a consistent pattern, but just kind of follow along with me. Because the point I want to make tonight is that words are very important. We as humans are word controlled. We are word controlled humans. You can say something to someone and they will beat you up because they don't like the words. You can say something to another person, they will love you because of the words. But what you need to understand is that there's a world of difference between a dictionary definition of a word and a legal or lawful dictionary definition of a word. When you go into court, when you're dealing with attorneys and judges, the words that you use do not mean the same thing at all. Let me give you some examples of what I'm talking about. Here it is. Corpus juris secundum, which is a complete restatement of the entire American law. Corpus juris secundum, which is a huge set of law volumes in any good law library, and I photocopied this. Under the heading of attorney and client, it says, an attorney has an obligation to the courts and to the public, no less significant than his obligation to his clients. Thus, an attorney occupies a dual position which imposes dual obligations. His first duty is to the courts and to the government or public, not to the client. So the first duty of an attorney is to the courts and to the government and not to the client. And whenever the duties of his client conflict with those he owes as an officer of the court in the administration of justice, the former must yield to the latter. So anytime you might have a difference with what the judge is doing or the courts are doing, it doesn't matter. They're the boss. And the attorney works for them, not you. Then in corpus juris secundum, it goes on to say under attorney and client, a client is one who applies to a lawyer or a counselor for advice or direction in a question of law. A client is also called a ward of the court in relation to his relationship with his attorney. Clients, if you hire an attorney, you're a client. And a client is a ward of the court. Look up in Black's Law Dictionary the word ward of the court, and it says an infant or person of unsound mind. According to the law, if you hire an attorney, you're an idiot.
Wow, and with that, we will begin. Morning, morning, morning. This is Trustee Training. If you're hearing my voice coming in loud and clear, that is great. So much to do, so little time. We are in the cuff, again, of the world's largest bank run. The question that we've always posed to most listeners is, what if I told you the revolution would not be televised? It said the revolution would not be televised. At least that's what they tell you. What if I told you it was just happening? It's just you were too ignorant to see it. It's actually evolving and happening all around you. It's just, are you recognizing the revolution that's taking place? And this revolution of sorts has an ability to ensnare those who choose to think that liberty grows on trees and you don't have to do anything and just have a sense of entitlement. That type of thinking, in my opinion, is going to be very dangerous. What we're going to do here is discuss syntactical trust in a way that I think is not ahead of its time, but right on time. So keep listening, because if you listen long enough, you definitely will learn something. I'm going to go back to something that I actually wrote years ago, in essence with a joint venture with another fiduciary of mine that was posted in one of our other blogs that's usually, populated, internationally. Syntactical trust, trust we can trust. Syntactical trust are trust we can trust. Syntactical trusts have been around for several years in legal theory. The thesis behind syntactical trust is very straightforward. The mechanism allows trustees to create a straw man framework upon which trust may be expanded into a multitude of different directions for the protection of the trust. This framework lends itself particularly well to sovereign entities because in its hierarchical thesis is that no laws are higher than sovereign laws, and at best, a sovereign entity can engage with other sovereigns on a peer-to-peer basis with neither sovereign entity subordinate to the other. There are three types of bank-owned life insurance products currently offered to syntactical trusts. One is a general account. This is the oldest form and still the most popular product in the market today. When syntactical trusts make an investment in a general account product, the deposit becomes part of the general account of the insurance carrier. Most insurance carriers primarily invest in real estate and bonds. The carrier does not provide specific detail on where they are investing the bank-owned life insurance proceeds. Rather, they provide some detail of general account holdings of the carrier. The product has a current crediting rate which can be changed, which can be changed, I'll say it again, which can be changed from time to time by the carrier, as well as the guaranteed minimal crediting rate that it cannot fall below. Here's very revealing because when you're in syntactical trust mode, you understand that this general account is based upon perception. And this general account is attached to some sort of general accounting standards. The next type of account is what they call a separate account. So for those of you who don't understand how insurance works, they are investing this money and they're giving you credit ratings that they can change. Separate accounts. Under this approach, the carrier segregates the holdings from their general account into bank-eligible investments managed by well-known fund managers. The fund managers provide detailed reporting of the assets within the portfolio. The crediting rate is let's be clear, the crediting rate is determined by the carrier using a yield to worst ratio. However, there is no guaranteed minimal credit rate. A stable value insurance rider can be purchased in order to smooth out the mark-to-market performance and provide downside protection. So they let you know they have a yield to worst ratio. They provide to you this mathematical formula that you attach to a mark-to-market in order for you to make up the downside. So in other words, they bring in a mechanism of accounting to smooth out the volatility. That's in a separate account. So you got a general account, separate account. Next account you have is what they call a hybrid account. And this approach is a combination. It's a combined combination of benefits of the above approaches, which means it's going to have separate accounts and general accounts. And it should be noted that both separate and hybrid products are not subject to creditors of the insurance carriers, providing another level of protection to syntactical trusts. So, here's what you learn about syntactical trusts utilizing the three types of bank-owned life insurance products. The hybrid provides a level of protection because the hybrid product is not subject to creditors and insurance of the insurance carrier. So if the insurance carrier gets in hot water with their creditors, those individuals that have funds in the separate and hybrid accounts are not subject to that level of scrutiny. How does bank-owned life insurance work? Well, a syntactical trust purchases the life insurance with either a single premium or a series of annual premiums on a select group of key employees. So here's where we slide into Key Man Insurance. The syntactical trust purchases the life insurance with either a single premium or a series of annual premiums on a select group of key employees and of bank directors. So it's going to be the key employees that, in other words, if you have an LLC, S Corp, blah, 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 you're going to pledge your Key Man Insurance. And that is what the banks are going to use. They're going to use your policy as collateral. The syntactical trust is the owner and beneficiary, although many banks opt to share the portion of the insurance proceeds with the participants. The tax-adjusted cash value growth within the bank-owned life insurance policy provides a return greater than the opportunity cost. So in other words, it's going to cost you 1% to participate, but your yield is going to be greater than 1%. Get it? Of what, and so it's going to be, it's going to be greater than your opportunity cost of what the syntactical trust would have made in an alternate investment. So in other words, if you cannot perform the market, you can beat, 5%, 10%, etc., then you're able to participate in this type of structure. Now, the accounting for a bank-owned life insurance is governed under FASB Technical Bulletin number 85-4. I'll repeat. What type of accounting do you use to exercise bank-owned life insurance? You utilize FASB Technical Bulletin number 85-4, and it should be recorded on the balance sheet as a other asset. The increase in cash surrender value or contract value during a specific period, as well as the final net insurance proceeds at maturity, should be recorded as other income. So let's get this right. The insurance is called other asset on your balance sheet, and it is also on your income statement recorded as other income. Balance sheet, other asset, income statement, other income. The bank-owned life insurance is a long-term asset when properly implemented and administered, and it offers the bank a highly rated investment option with a significant tax advantage versus other syntactical trust permissible investments. Syntactical trust purchases the life insurance with either a single premium or a series of annual premiums on a selected group. Dealing with the key man, you see where I'm going with this, right? So, with that being said, it should be mentioned that if you understand what was just articulated, then you should be able to really get the gist of how all this stuff really works. Now, here's what I've noticed. A lot of individuals don't quite understand how all of this stuff really works. They really don't get the fact that information of this magnitude is been placed in such a space that it is very difficult for individuals to really see the writing on the wall. But if you've been picking up what we've been putting down, shouldn't be hard for you to figure out which way's up. So keep listening, because if you listen long enough, you definitely will learn something.
That's what the law book says. See if you can remember this quotation. For the first time, a civilized nation has full gun registration. Our streets will be safer, our police more effective, and the world will follow our lead to the future. That's it, Adolf Hitler. You know how many employees the United States Post Office has? No. How many employees did the United States Post Office have? A guess.
800,000.
Okay. All of you are wrong. 5. 5 employees of the United States of America Post Office. Now, we have a privately owned company owned by a guy in England that's called the United States Postal Service, not Post Office. Postal Service is a privately owned company. It's owned by some people in England, and they have a franchise to operate here in America with your mail. So when you go into what you call the post office, just remember, it is not run by the American government. This is a privately owned corporation. And consequently, it's operating as a military unit, and that's why if you're drafted, you can go down and swear in at the post office, because it is under international military justice. So I think I want to read you something here to give you an idea about, because this is the world of occultism that I love, and this is the kind of thing that I love. I want to read you something. You probably have heard this before. Abraham Lincoln, and the reason I'm reading this is to show you that there is a world of occult power behind world governments. And most people think things just happen by chance. No way. And the whole idea is, I think, well expressed in this. Abraham Lincoln was elected to Congress in 1846. Abraham Lincoln was elected to Congress in 1846. John Kennedy was elected to Congress in 1946. 100 years exactly. Abe Lincoln was elected president in 1860. John Kennedy was elected president in 1960. The names Lincoln and Kennedy both contain 7 letters. Both were particularly concerned with civil rights. Both wives lost children while living in the White House. Both presidents were shot on a Friday. Both presidents were shot in the head. Lincoln's secretary was named Miss Kennedy. Kennedy's secretary was named Miss Lincoln. Both were assassinated by Southerners. Both were succeeded by Southerners. Both Southerners were named Johnson. Andrew Johnson succeeded Lincoln, was born in 1808. Lyndon Johnson succeeded Kennedy, born in 1908. John Wilkes Booth, who assassinated Lincoln, born 1839. Lee Harvey Oswald, who assassinated Kennedy, born 1939. Both assassins were known by 3 names: John Wilkes Booth, Lee Harvey Oswald. Both names are comprised of 15 letters. Lincoln was shot at a theater named Ford. Kennedy was shot in a car made by Ford called Lincoln. John Wilkes Booth ran from the theater and was caught in a warehouse. Oswald ran from a warehouse and was caught in the theater. I like this one. A week before Lincoln was shot, he was in Monroe, Maryland, and a week before Kennedy was shot, he was in Maryland, Monroe. Oh, I get back to this postal thing. You know that when you walk in a post office, you no longer have a postal worker. If your mail comes back to you, it says it's coming back and you should go to the Postal Service to see a retail clerk at the Postal Service. That's why they no longer have FBI pictures in the post office, and you can buy bubble gum and all kinds of toys in there, because it's now owned by someone that is not a citizen in this country. And consequently, I think probably the most extraordinary thing, well, this is a quotation from John Swington, and I'll have photocopies of this, and you can get a whole set if you wish. John Swington, the former chief of staff of the New York Times, was referred to while living as the dean of his profession. In 1953, he gave a toast before the New York Press Club in New York City, and he said this: "There is no such thing at this date of the world's history in America as an independent press. You know it, and I know it. There's not one of you who dares to write your honest opinion. If you did, you know beforehand that it would never appear in print. I am paid weekly to keep my honest opinions out of the paper I am connected with. Others of you are paid similar salaries for similar things, and any of you would be foolish as to write an honest opinion that would be out on the streets, because you'd be out on the streets looking for a new job." And he goes on to say, we're nothing more than jumping jacks. While our masters pull the strings, we dance. Consequently, our press, the media is, of course, owned and controlled by money. And the ancient system of the Druids, thousands of years ago, even 1,000 years before the Roman Empire in Northern Europe, there was a whole system of religion and government called the Druidic system. That system exists today, right now, in this country and in the Western world. All over what we would call the Western world is a Druidic system. And if you understand the Druids and their symbols and their words and terms and their symbols in government and religion, then you will see Druidism everywhere. One of the most important symbols in the Druid religion was the magic wand, like Merlin the magician with his magic wands, and Mickey Mouse with his magic wand. Magic wands, the reference works say, were always made out of holly wood. Consequently, the holly tree is very important to the ancient Celtic Druidic system of religion. Hollywood is very important to this whole process of the manipulation of the minds of people in the Western world. I have little to no respect for Hollywood or anybody working in it. I'm very close to it. I live around it. I know many people in it, but I know what it's doing. A most important subject, well, I said words. And before I hit that, let's go to the word public in a law dictionary. The word public is the populace, the community, that vast multitude which includes the ignorant, the unthinking, the credulous, who in making a purchase do not stop to analyze but are governed by appearances and general impressions. That's the public as far as the law is concerned. Now let me at this point, well, here's one more. This is a doozy. In a law book, if you call yourself a human being, go to a law book and look up the word human being, and it will tell you, see monster. All right? So then you turn over to monster, and there it is. A law dictionary's definition of a monster is a human being by birth, but in some part resembling a lower animal. A monster has no inheritable blood and cannot be heir to any land. Consequently, we as human beings we're not men and women. We're considered human beings. And the word human being goes back to the Crusades. When the knights were traveling across Europe on their way to Jerusalem, they were fathering a lot of illegitimate children. And of course, the offspring of a knight would inherit the father's fortune. And the church was not going to allow that. So they designated all the babies coming from the knights to be acting like they're being human, but they're not actually human. They're not actually a man or a woman. They're like being human.
What I'm giving tonight is startling. I hope that you are partially knowledgeable. I hope that you at least know somewhat of the fact that there is a plot for the destruction of your freedom. Otherwise, what is being said tonight could be very, very dangerous to your mental thought patterns, if I may say. A number of months ago, I met a gentleman by the name of John Bergen. John Bergen is an outstanding businessman of Minneapolis, Minnesota. Quite well-to-do, and owns one of the largest nut importers of America, importing firms of America. John Bergen is very well respected in Minneapolis and is a very reputable individual, not a novice by any stretch of the imagination. He has political clout. And when he goes to Washington, even though Minneapolis and Minnesota are very liberal, even the liberals listen to him. John Bergen said to me some while back, Lindsay, you need to know a gentleman by the name of Jonathan May. I said, who is Jonathan May? I had never heard his name. He said, Jonathan May is a citizen of England. And he said, Jonathan May has traveled extensively worldwide, knows the issues, became quite knowledgeable through certain sources in the Council of Foreign Relations and Trilateral Commission as to what the internationalists intend to do worldwide. It so disturbed him and having certain Arab sources that he knew, he decided that he would attempt to counteract the game plan of the internationalists. Now, the internationalists are the ones that I attempt to describe in my latest book, Syndrome of Control, a group of power elite individuals, probably no more than 12 to 15 people, who hold the purse strings of every nation in the world and control most of the governments of the world through the control of their finances. He found out what these individuals were doing, and it so startled him until he decided that he would counteract what they were doing by establishing a worldwide Federal Reserve. You do recognize, of course, that the Federal Reserve System controls the money, the interest rate, the general economy, your lifestyle and mine of every person in America. It is not an agency of the federal government. And so Jonathan May decided he would establish a worldwide Federal Reserve in order to help save certain nations. He got the Arabs to invest multi amounts of money. I cannot name the exact figure. You'll hear him give some of it tonight himself in his own words. The Arabs had already said, we will be involved. At the point that the Arabs were to deliver the funds in order to start this new creature, the internationalists in England found out about it. They threatened the life of Jonathan May and would not allow the Arabs to transfer the money into England for him to start this. At that point, Jonathan May felt that his life was in jeopardy, and he came to America. He did the wrong thing, of course, because the exact same powers that be that control England likewise control America. And in August of 1986, Jonathan May was arrested and put in federal prison in Minneapolis, Minnesota on erroneous charges. John Bergen put me in touch with him by telephone because I was not allowed to go to the federal prison. Jonathan May, after numerous conversations and after a lot of persuasion, agreed to allow me to tape a conversation over the telephone, which you'll hear parts of tonight. In this conversation, he tells the game plan, the timetable, and the inner manipulations of the power elite of the world as he knew it because of certain sources that he had. He gives his story as to what happened to him. Now, the 20 to 25-minute tape that we're going to be listening to in sections tonight, and an explanation with almost every statement, you're going to find it very unique, indifferent, different, startling, and possibly very, very disturbing in some senses, yet information-wise will probably be some of the most in-depth information that you or I have ever heard. The reason I say that is because I have been studying this issue for the past 6 years. I have traveled extensively nationwide. Last year, I was 7 months on the road without ever stopping and averaged 2 speaking engagements per day, average crisscrossing America every other week. And I thought that I knew most of the answers to what the boys were doing. After hearing Jonathan May and having him tell me some things that only top executives in the oil companies had told, which I had never told in public, I was willing to believe that his story was credible, because for the first time, Jonathan May put together some pieces of the puzzle that allowed me to see the complete, total picture that I had never been able to put together since 1973 and 4, when I first sat in the board meetings with the oil company officials and found out that there positively was a plot for the control of America and the world, its finances and its people, by a group of power elite, and heard the top echelon oil companies officials saying it and telling about it in their own words. That was when I first became knowledgeable and disturbed, and since then I've tried to put all the pieces together, but there were some pieces that I never could get because I did not have inroads into the CFR and the Trilateral Commission and the inner workings and manipulations of such organizations as the Bilderbergers and others. Jonathan May did have inroads into those organizations because of his worldwide travel and many contacts that he had, and put together the final pieces of the puzzle. Now, what I'm going to do that's so unique and different tonight, I have in my hand a tape recorder, which I'm hoping will be audible easily over the public address system, and I'm going to play portions of Jonathan May's explanation to you. Then I will stop and draw on the chalkboard the related subjects that will cause us to be able to understand the complete picture. And as far as I know, this is the first audience ever that this information has been given to. I have never given it before in public. I do not know what the repercussions of what I'm doing tonight will be. I do know that certain things are told on this cassette tape that the powers that be would be very startled if they knew they were known, because very few knew them except the top echelon themselves. Therefore, we will give a portion of the tape an explanation with the related material. So I'll begin at this time by playing just a portion, and then I'll go back for an explanation. Here goes Jonathan May, in his own words, in his own voice, right from the federal jail in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and we go, and then an explanation after a portion of his talk.
First of all, there are 13 families that effectively control the central banks of the hard currency countries. The hard currency countries are the countries whose currencies are caused not to fluctuate as much as the other countries' currencies fluctuate. Those 13 families have the control of the policy making and decision making of the central banks of those countries.
Those families are referenced in my book, To Seduce a Nation, and the 8 of them are listed, which are the owners of the majority of the stock of the regional banks of the Federal Reserve System. It's rather strange that 13 families. 13, as you know, is an unlucky number both in Scripture and the world usually uses the word 13 as a number related to unusual and wicked things. 13 families that control the currency of the world. Now, those are the families that basically manipulate gold prices every morning on the London Exchange. They're the 13 families who control the regional banks of the Federal Reserve, the 13 families that would control the currencies that are not allowed to fluctuate.
My name is Abdullah Mosi Bey, and this book's been out for about 3 months now. I published this book in April. It's called The Illuminati and Illumination of the Mind, the Ancient Musical Scale, Pineal Gland, Melanin, DNA, and Cellular Memory. And what I do here is I actually place the word Illuminati in its ancient culture, mind, science perspective, dealing with the ancient philosophy and sciences of how to activate the higher brain senses. What the Europeans have done was distorted the word Illuminati and have people thinking, because of social engineering, that Illuminati is some secret organization of Europeans that control the world. All right? Illuminati, the root word is L-U-N, which means shine, and the prefix I-L, which is a form of I-N, which means upon. So to get this book, you can go to my website, morriscivilletter.net. That's MOORISHCIVIL.net. In fact, this is right on the back, my information, telephone number, and the website. And to go to the video page of the website, at the very bottom of the video page, you go to the donate button, and the book is $28 and $4 for the mailing. So you send $32 through the PayPal, it's my PayPal account, to purchase the book. So once again, the book is titled Illuminati, the Illumination of the Mind, the Ancient Musical Scale, Pineal Gland, Melanin, DNA, and Cellular Memory. The images on this book, what I do is I actually begin to see how all these images are all related. There's symbolic relationship to the pineal gland. Here you have the all-seeing eye, which is symbolic of the pineal gland, the pine cone, the unicorn people have used to seeing, all right, the lotus flower, and also the fleur-de-lis that the French claim to be theirs. They've stolen that from y'all, all right, from our people. The cyclops, eye in the center, all right. You say, oh, well, this is our headdress that the Europeans have stolen from us, all right, and our people are afraid of this, right, and which is understandable. I mean, they kill us and they lynched us and they beaten us wearing our headdress. All right, so you see here the shape of it in the form of a pyramid. All right, You lost the elephant. The elephant is used because the elephant is a symbol of memory. The elephant has a huge temporal lobe. It can store a tremendous amount of memory. In Hindustan, Sindhu, which is Arabicized as Hindustan, modern English form India, there's an annual festival called the Festival of Diwali, where they have huge statues of elephants. But what they do is they actually worship the statues, when in fact they're the elephant. Meaning that what I mean is they're the elephant. The people themselves are the elephant, meaning that it's symbolic of cellular memory.
Understanding trust positions and types of trusts. Introduction. In the realm of trusts, it is essential to grasp the roles and distinctions among the various trust positions. This article delves into the intricacies of trust positions, specifically focusing on the grantor. Additionally, it explores different types of private trusts and provides an overview of two primary trusts, the Private Express Trust and the Charitable Trust. The grantor, creator of the trust. The grantor, also referred to as the truster or settler, holds a pivotal role in establishing a trust. The grantor is the individual who desires to create the trust and places certain rights, assets, or properties into it. Essentially, the grantor initiates the trust and sets its foundation. In the case of a living trust, for instance, an individual may choose to leave their fortune to their children and grandchildren, granting their property into trust. By doing so, they ensure the well-being of their family upon their passing. It's important to note that while the assets are no longer owned by the grantor, they retain the right to use them during their lifetime. Types of private trusts. Private trusts encompass a wide array of legal structures that cater to various purposes. This section explores two primary types of private trusts, the Private Express Trust and the Charitable Trust. Private Express Trust. The Private Express Trust operates under the principles of common law. It involves an explicit agreement between the grantor and the trustee, outlining the terms and conditions of the trust. The indenture, which serves as the trust document, sets forth the rights, obligations, and beneficiaries of the trust. This type of trust is often used for personal and private matters, with beneficiaries typically specified by name. Charitable Trust. Similar to the Private Express Trust, the Charitable Trust is established for philanthropic purposes. However, it differs in that it includes a broader range of beneficiaries, such as the general public, as opposed to specific individuals named in the trust. While the basic structure and principles of the charitable trust resemble those of the Private Express Trust, its indenture may require certain modifications to accommodate its charitable nature. Other trusts. Apart from the Private Express Trust and the Charitable Trust, there are several other trust variations that may be of interest. Body Trust or Origin Trust. In this trust, an individual places their biological materials, including DNA, flesh, blood, and other bodily components, into the trust. It serves as a starting point for protecting and managing one's physical existence. Nominee trusts. These trusts involve the appointment of a nominee who holds legal ownership of assets on behalf of another individual or entity. They offer flexibility and privacy in managing assets. Statutory and non-statutory trusts. While the focus of this article lies on trusts governed by common law, it's worth mentioning that statutory trusts, created and regulated by specific statutes, also exist. Exploring trusts in practice. Trusts operate within a complex legal framework and vary according to the intentions and goals of the parties involved. It is important to recognize that the possibilities and applications of trusts are vast and depend on the unique circumstances of each trust agreement. While this article provides a foundational understanding of trust positions and types, the true extent of the subject matter expands far beyond what is covered here. Conclusion. Understanding the roles within a trust, particularly the grantor, is crucial when navigating the realm of trusts. This article has shed light on the grantor's role as the creator of the trust and has explored two significant types of private trusts: the private express trust and the charitable trust. By familiarizing oneself with these concepts, individuals can gain a better understanding of the diverse possibilities and applications of trusts in various legal scenarios. Understanding trusts and contractual obligations. Introduction. This article delves into the intricacies of international banks' contractual obligations and the potential violations that may occur. It also explores the concept of private administrative procedure and its interaction with alleged creditors. Additionally, the article touches on the importance of one's stance in court and the difference between state and nation. Potential violations by international banks. Darla raises the question of whether international banks can be in violation of their contracts, particularly when it comes to mortgages. It can be argued that certain international banks, if not all, may indeed be in violation from the onset of their contract. While this statement lacks specific context, it is possible to present factual evidence supporting the violation claims. Private administrative procedure and ignored processes. The private administrative procedure is a means through which individuals address alleged creditors. However, in some cases, the private administrative process may be ignored by the creditors. This can be attributed to the implementation of private administrative procedures within public jurisdictions. When individuals fail to adhere to the established rules or challenge the authority of the jurisdiction, their private administrative processes may be disregarded. Creditors often resort to lower court law forms, exploiting procedural loopholes to their advantage or choosing to ignore the process altogether. The significance of stance in court. One's stance in court plays a crucial role in legal proceedings. It determines how individuals present themselves and the image they convey to the judge. There are three primary stances to consider. 1. Dual-minded stance. This stance may give the impression of inconsistency or indecisiveness to the judge. 2. Separate and autonomous trustee stance. By adopting this stance, individuals present themselves as trustees acting on behalf of a separate and autonomous trust. This positions them as a third party or real party in interest, seeking to protect the trust's interests. 3. Motion to dismiss stance. This stance involves questioning the validity or jurisdiction of the trust in question, which may lead to a motion to dismiss. The choice of stance significantly affects the course of legal proceedings and how individuals assert their rights. State versus nation, understanding the difference. The difference between a state and a nation can be complex, and it is worth exploring further. While not elaborated upon in this article, it is recommended to add definitions of both terms as future homework. This will allow for a more comprehensive discussion among participants, enabling a collective understanding of the distinctions. Impairing contracts and lack of respect. The question arises as to whether the protections against impairing contracts are respected. The answer to this question is nuanced and dependent on various factors. In many cases, courts tend to prioritize procedural remedies, favoring the rules and regulations set forth in the code. This emphasis on procedure sometimes leads to a disregard for the underlying contractual obligations. However, it is important to note that impairing contracts protection can vary, and each situation should be assessed on its own merits. Trusts as natural persons. Trusts, specifically private express trusts, are recognized as natural persons. This is supported by various authoritative sources such as legal dictionaries like Black's and Bouvier, as well as case law references. These references provide a solid foundation for understanding trusts as entities with legal personality. Conclusion. Understanding the complexities of trusts and contractual obligations is crucial in navigating legal matters. This article has explored the potential violations by international banks, the role of private administrative procedures, the significance of one's stance in court, and the distinction between state and nation. It is essential to continue seeking knowledge and referencing reputable sources to enhance understanding in this intricate field of law. Exploring Trust and Personal Choices. Introduction. This article delves into the concept of trusts and personal choices, examining various scenarios and considerations. It explores the possibility of using trusts to secure collateral and the implications of operating within the United States jurisdiction. Additionally, the article touches on topics such as driver's licenses, passports, and the right to travel. Managing existing contracts and trusts. When it comes to contracts that individuals have already entered into, it is their responsibility to manage them appropriately. This includes documents such as driver's licenses, passports, and birth certificates. While these documents may be seen as representations of certificated securities, individuals must handle them in a manner that aligns with their personal choices and understanding. Trust and collateral. In considering the private express trust as a separate entity, one can ponder whether it can operate similarly to the United States private trust in creating certifications of chattel to secure debt. This intriguing concept raises questions about the potential utilization of trusts to secure collateral, mirroring capacities. Operating within the realms of trust provides individuals with the flexibility to wear different hats depending on the circumstances. Similar to the various roles portrayed by characters in a TV show like The Andy Griffith Show, individuals can adopt different personas depending on their needs and objectives. Some key points to consider in this regard are understanding one's separation from the commercial entity, creating a trust that mirrors the individual's identity, recognizing that the fiction created by the individual becomes a natural person under certain jurisdictions, the right to travel and documentation. While individuals have the inherent right to travel without licenses or paperwork, there are practical considerations to keep in mind. Operating a vehicle as part of a commercial activity may require a driver's license. However, individuals can still assert their rights and the jurisdiction they operate under. Some points to consider include carrying a trust folder to provide documentation related to trust operations, educating oneself about the legal aspects of operating outside the United States federal jurisdiction, being prepared for potential encounters with law enforcement officers who may lack knowledge about specific laws, trust relationships and governance. In future webinars, the topic of trust relationships will be explored in more depth. The three-trust approach, involving private trusts, pass-through trusts, and public entity interfaces, will be covered. The goal is to empower individuals to understand and establish the necessary relationships between their trusts. However, it is important to emphasize that the webinars aim to educate rather than provide ready-made solutions. Dissolving marriage, trusts, and looking ahead. Individuals seeking to end a marriage trust with the state will typically require a divorce, overseen by a judge. However, it is important to note that the focus of these webinars is not on backtracking or undoing past actions. Instead, they emphasize understanding how to live from the beginning, making informed choices about trust establishment and asset protection. Moving forward and progressing. The webinars focus on moving forward and progressing in the most effective manner. They cover topics such as transferring assets, protecting assets within marriage trusts, and understanding lien rights and security agreements. The aim is to equip individuals with the knowledge and tools to make their own informed decisions and shape their future. Embracing personal contracts and choices. Rather than seeking to rid oneself of existing contracts and documents, the focus should be on embracing personal contracts and choices. Expatriation or similar actions are unnecessary if one has the ability to contract outside of the existing system. The goal is to progress in a different mode and exercise personal autonomy. Leaving the public trust and traveling. Leaving the United States public trust and enjoying the freedom to travel is an appealing prospect. However, it is important to understand the process and the documentation requirements. Leaving the public trust typically involves a deliberate choice to disengage from the system. Regarding travel, whether a U.S. passport is necessary depends on individual circumstances and the specific jurisdiction in which one intends to travel. It is advisable to seek further guidance and conduct thorough research to ensure compliance with legal requirements. Conclusion. Understanding trusts and personal choices is crucial in navigating complex legal and contractual matters. This article has explored the possibilities and considerations surrounding trusts, collateral, personal documentation, and the right to travel. It is important to approach these topics with a forward-thinking mindset, focusing on informed decision-making and the establishment of effective trust relationships. By embracing personal contracts and choices, individuals can shape their own paths and strive for autonomy within legal frameworks. Navigating trusts, contracts, and personal choices. Introduction. This article explores various aspects of trusts, contracts, and personal choices. It delves into topics such as relinquishing citizenship, jurisdiction, identification, the right to unlimited contracts, and the recognition of common law marriage. The focus is on understanding the legal landscape and empowering individuals to make informed decisions. Relinquishing citizenship and establishing a private entity. Non-U.S. citizen status and relinquishing citizenship. Accommodation for non-U.S. citizens or non-nationals exists within the U.S. Code. A declaration of non-citizenship is one way to relinquish citizenship. Relinquishing citizenship requires careful consideration and understanding of the American Republic and establishing citizenship through one of the states.
North Avenue Capital started with a vision of being the best lender in the industry. For us to be effective, we needed to understand rural communities and the businesses that are critical for keeping those local economies thriving. North Avenue Capital provides financing in partnership with the USDA Rural Development Program. The main purpose of the USDA Rural Development Loan Guarantee Program is to encourage lenders to deploy capital into rural communities with the underlying objective of creating jobs, spurring on economic development, and helping establish and build businesses in communities outside of large metropolitan areas.
The USDA Business and Industry Loan Program is a secured asset lending program. We refinance existing debt. We do ground-up construction. We provide capital to improve real estate and provide working capital to borrowers across the country. The benefits of the USDA B&I program are the rates tend to be very competitive. They're very long-term loans, up to 30-year term and amortization. It tends to be a highly levered product. So oftentimes we can get up to 75% loan to cost on startups. And on the right existing business, we often do 100% financing. The types of deals that can be done in the USDA B&I program are all forms of commercial real estate, office, industrial, retail, hospitality, but then also specialized sectors, vineyards, wedding venues, nurseries, family entertainment centers, even oil and gas and mining.
In order for a borrower to qualify for a B&I loan, first of all, they have to be a for-profit business or a startup business, but they need to be located in a rural community outside of a big city, which actually comprises 97% of the country. In fact, many borrowers are operating in rural communities and may not even know it because of their proximity to a suburban or metropolitan area.
If you have an opportunity that you think may be a fit for one of the USDA loan programs, you can find us at northavenue.com, and we're all over the internet. We look forward to working with you.
The alternative lending industry can provide a very lucrative opportunity for brokers and affiliate partners. Whether you're specialized in commercial lending or real estate financing, having the right funding partner can make the difference between earning thousands on a deal or losing a commission. Go Capital understands this. You work hard to secure your clients and deserve to be compensated. Unfortunately, due to increased competition, many lending companies have stopped working with new agents, are not providing adequate training, are slow to respond, and simply not issuing competitive approvals. By joining Go Capital's partner program, your dedicated support specialist will assist you every step of the way. As a broker, you know that it's not always a matter of obtaining a loan approval. You need competitive terms. Go Capital's catalog of loan products allows you to offer the best financial solutions to your clients. Options include business lines of credit, SBA loans, merchant cash advances, commercial mortgages, hard money fix and flip loans, bridge financing, equipment leasing, invoice factoring, and more. What does this mean for you? More deals, more commission, and satisfied customers. As a registered partner, you'll receive free access to the Broker Affiliate Sales Portal. This system allows you to easily manage your deals and also offers tools, training, and resources that will help you succeed. Frustrated with never being able to speak with someone about your deals? At Go Capital, someone is always available. Whether you prefer to call, email, chat, or even visit our office headquarters in downtown Miami, we are always available to answer your questions. While other companies may advertise the highest commissions, they often fall short when it comes to issuing competitive terms, making the process easy, or simply being responsive. Go Capital provides quality broker support and training, and quickly identifies how to best structure a transaction. With our multitude of loan programs, comprehensive training systems, and quality service, you can focus on more important things, generating more business. Need us to join a conference call with a client? Need help presenting an offer? No problem. Our loan specialists are here to help. For more information or to sign up, visit our partner page on www.gocapital.com today or call 1-866-257-2973 and speak with an account manager. Go Capital, where your success is our business.